Hey, what's going on, guys? It is the Fantasy Football Conqueror. As you guys know, I am the Conqueror. And I wanted to share with you guys tip number 3 today of what I do. Tip number 3 is going to be about the apps that you download or have on your phone. These are the all-important places to get information. I will tell you there are multiple places out there providing tons of good stuff. But when I find something that I like that's set up in a proper and efficient way, I just use that. That's it, right? So it's the only one I use. I have, for the beginning of the season, around this time right now, I'm using Draft Wizard. I personally find Draft Wizard to be the easiest way to do your mock drafts. And like I said, y'all need to be doing mock drafts every day from here on out. So you just do one a day. It ain't that hard. It take you 10 minutes. And as it gets closer, we'll do a little bit more, a couple more per day. But it's just a nice, quick little thing, couple minutes. If you're taking a shit, just pull out your phone, do a mock draft, and keep going, man. If you don't know your draft order, pick random ones, because you're going to want to, be able to strategize. You're basically using it as a tool to see where players are going. And as the season gets closer and preseason starts and hype goes around, you're going to see players that are going to move up and down that board. And you really want to be able to know, because you want to be able to change on the whim, man. You want to be able to change on a whim and do what you got to do to get into the to get the best team out of the draft, coming right out of the draft, because it's going to build a solid foundation for the rest of your season. Now, that being said, what I typically use, what you'll want to probably do now, is download the Roto World News app. That's the one that I find the best. There are others out there. I think Sleeper Bot, it's all right. I've used it. I don't prefer it over Roto World, because I feel like Roto World keeps stuff much better organized, so that I can keep tabs on players on my specific team, not not my team like the Packers. I'm talking like my team. They do have setups like that, but they have it where I can select my actual team that I have playing, my fantasy team, and you'll get immediate news alerts about those players. And Roto World, what I like about them is they update pretty quickly. So that's going to come in handy during the season. If there's a player that you get news on, that's one of the best times to strike. If you're talking like, think about this, you're midway through the season or some point during the season, and all of a sudden Zeke goes down, and they at practice. Hopefully that never happens to him. He's an awesome player. Maybe doesn't make the best life decisions, but he's a great player, great NFL running back. And let's say he goes down. You're going to immediately want to jump in. You're going to want to be the first one to get that news. And when you're the first one to get the news, you're the first one to run to the waiver wire on your phone or on your computer or however you have to get downloaded into your league, and you're going to grab his backup immediately, because there is always one guy on your team you could scrap for a future starter in the NFL. I believe I was able to luck into that when I think it was what was it last year? I think Damian Williams, and I also got Matt Breida. When McKinnon went down, I was able to pick up Breida, and I was also able to pick up Damian Williams from the Chiefs when we had I think it was Kareem Hunt had his issues or whatever. I honestly don't remember. There's so much stuff that happens every year, and like I said, I usually have a lot of teams. But that was one of the ways that you dominate, guys. If you're the first one to grab that next starting running back. Oh, James Conner. I had that guy too. As soon as Bell's holdout went through, I ended up grabbing him. So, those types of things. When you have a team now, and I think those were all on one team. I had Melvin Gordon, James Conner. The problem I had was who the hell to start, because I only had 2 running back slots, and I had to figure out who the hell I was going to start because I had too many stars on my team. That's a good problem to have. And so that's what you want. You want to have too many good players on your team you don't know what to do with, because you're going to have bye weeks coming up. You're going to have all sorts of stuff that's going to affect that. And what you want to do is you want to be the first one getting the news, jumping in there, and you can even sell that player too. So let's say, what's his name? I just forgot his doggone name. Zeke. Gosh, I can't believe I just blanked out on that. Zeke goes down in practice, boom. You pick him up, you pick up his backup immediately, and they say, it's not a big deal. Zeke's a freaking monster. and he's good and he starts the next week. Okay, he starts, good deal. Drop that guy. Pick up somebody else. No harm, no foul, right? No big deal with that. But let's say they go, oh, Zeke tweaked his hammy and he's going to be out for 3 weeks. Well, guess what? You either have a 3-week starter or you have a massive bargaining chip to the old Zeke owner. The old Zeke owner is freaking out. They lost their guy and they're going to lose the next 3 games. In their mind, that's what they're thinking. He was their most likely their first-round pick. They lost their first-round pick. They're going to lose this entire season because of 3 games from Zeke. In all odds, it's not going to happen that way. But you don't tell them that. You take advantage of that situation, okay? You manipulate that situation. You got his backup. Then you send him trades for his own backup. And what you do is you try to get another player that he doesn't have as valued that you find to either be valuable now or who's in a slump or who's, you think is going to be hot later in the season, right? You can trade him somebody that maybe he's injured, somebody that's not on a hot streak, but they're about to get fired up, maybe because the offense is changing or maybe there's something going on, potential trade out there looming, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of stuff. And maybe that's what you're trying to do. There are multiple strategies, but the very first strategy is to get that player, secure that player, and once you secure that individual, you can go from there. If your team needs the running back help, you start him. If your team needs, wide receiver help, you trade him and you utilize that to get the best team. That is what you do. That's how you win. That's how you conquer. That's how you destroy everybody in your fantasy football league. And that is tip number 3. I did also go on Instagram. I did post and I believe on Facebook as well. I posted my mock draft number 2. This is the second one I did. I did import it in, my stuff in from Yahoo. So it's got the Yahoo rankings in there, and it's structured where I'm going to be drafting and all that. So my second one, I ended up getting pick number 4, Alvin Kamara. And then, which I don't think is going to happen because I know the guy, I believe, at pick number 3 is a huge Saints fan, and in all likelihood, he's taking Alvin Kamara. I believe the guy at number 1 took Christian McCaffrey last year and loved him because he beat me in the championship game on the back of Christian McCaffrey. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be at selection number 4 choosing between Zeke and Saquon Barkley. And that's just knowing your league mates and knowing what they're likely to do. It can help you strategize on those 2 guys who I'm going to take. I'm not going to take David Johnson, even though I really, really love David Johnson. He's a great guy. I just think that there's a lot of unknown in that situation. I'd rather have the guarantee of a Zeke, which at this point most likely my number 1 player is Saquon Barkley out of everybody. So I prefer Saquon over and above everybody. He is my number 1 overall player because he's fresh, he's new, he's a running back that's just a freaking stud, and that guy's a beast, man. So my number 1 is Saquon. I did trade Melvin Gordon and Pat Mahomes last year to get Saquon, and I did make it to the championship game even doing that. So that being said, guys, that is tip number 3. Go out, get yourself mocked, get yourself those apps that are downloaded for the news. Whichever ones you prefer, those are the ones I use. I literally just use Roto World, and I'll listen to podcasts, Fantasy Footballers podcast. I listen to 4 for 4 by John Paulson, and a few other things that I gather some news from. Just going to NFL.com or just looking and searching players or teams on your thing. But mostly I use that Roto World news because you want to be the first to know what's going on and get alerted about players, all players. And when you're the first, what they say, if you ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby. So yeah, be the first one to grab the guys, and being the first one means you got the news first, and that means you need the news apps. Get the news apps, get them downloaded on your phone, get familiar with how they work, get your alerts set up properly, and you will be on your way to owning and conquering your fantasy league. That, guys, I'm going to sign off. If you like, share, subscribe, I appreciate it. Trying to get up over 1,000 likes so I can just go live and I don't have to keep recording these things to my phone and then back and forth. So anyways, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks again, and we will be back tomorrow with some more tips and tricks for the off season on how to get your team into domination and conquering zones.